Digger T-Rock Legend of the Lost City was released on the NES in 1990 by Milton Bradley and developed by Rare. You play as Digger T-Rock, a miner, I mean look how young this freaking kid is, who digs through various caverns in search of the Lost City. You're armed with a shovel, which you can use to dig through certain surfaces, maneuver boulders, and bitch slap enemies, although it does have the shortcomings of, well, being short range. And the fact that you'll often get enemies coming down from overhead, where you have to line up directly in front of them in mid-air for it to work, particularly these pesky mosquitoes, which also respawn, so you'll find yourself swinging endlessly, or until the game just decides to give you a break and not respawn them. You can also throw rocks, which you'll find by digging through the reachable ceilings in certain spots. These have better range, but they do travel at a weird angle, and you have a limited amount. What's idiotic is that while you can toggle which item you want to use, the default shovel and the rocks occupy the same spot on the item screen, so which weapon you use is determined by how close you are to an enemy. Since the B button is your only way to use or shoot anything, it's fucking stupid. Aside from that, you also have dynamite, which you'll use more often than not to blow up walls, rope ladders to get down from high places, because you can suffer big damage from high drops, or sometimes not so high drops, diamonds, which you can use to buy shit in specific rooms, and a mushroom, which will give you invincibility, although you have to kick the shroom first by pressing B right next to it, and then chase this glob that floats out of it. On top of that, the invincibility lasts about as long as I do in bed. Before you know it, it's over, and often enough, there's no enemies within reach anyway, so it's not as useful as it might seem. The items are kinda sorta randomized every time, although it's not completely random. There seems to be a pattern where certain locations tend to have items, but it's not a given either. And the items you'll collect from digging through the ceiling will always be the same. It is a pretty cool feature. It encourages you to explore and not rely on memorization, even if you've beaten the game already. But this does make it difficult in terms of the walkthrough. I can't really be specific about where to pick things up, so pick up everything you see. There are also bonus stages in between each stage where you can grab goblets for extra points, and if you leave 40 seconds or more on the door clock, more on this later, then you'll also get 2 diamonds to find in the bonus area while boulders come crashing down from above. Collect as many as you can before you get crushed. Although it is a bonus stage, you won't lose any lives. When you finish a stage, your health bar will refill. Oh, by the way, you get a health bar. So thankfully this game isn't a one-hit death type of a thing, especially with all the cheap hits you'll end up taking. Each stage, or cavern, has a back door that's locked. To open it, you'll have to stand on one of these hydraulic pipes that opens the door, but only for 60 seconds and it closes up. So at that point, it's a race against the clock. Thankfully though, if you do run out of time, you can always go back and reactivate the pipe as many times as you need to. I don't know if I'd call the caverns mazes per se, but they're not always linear. There's generally alternate routes, and in some cases teleportation spots that'll take you to and from another location, which you can use to your advantage to take shortcuts or escape enemies. Like I said earlier, you're encouraged to explore. While the concept is fairly interesting, the execution could have delivered a lot better. The graphics are fine, although Digger does look like Sweet Pea from Popeye, especially when he's crawling, but the controls leave a lot to be desired. Aside from the aforementioned issues with the shovel and rocks being merged as one item in the toggle menu, and the cheap hits from overhead enemies, and from being in tight spaces, there are also problems with simply maneuvering Digger. First off, he's slippery as hell, which makes it difficult to line up on the edge of platforms when trying to lay down a ladder so you don't drop to your doom. This shit happens way more often than it should, not to mention the simple act of jumping from one platform to another is more challenging than it needs to be when landing on small platforms. And that's another thing, jumping has a delay, so you have to get used to pressing A a little earlier than you naturally would. On top of that, having to deal with the slippery positioning, not to mention that you can't steer yourself in midair once you let go of the directional button, so you can't steer yourself to safety if you think you're going to take a great fall. You just have to wait and take it. Another thing that sucks about falling is there's no way to look down from a ledge and see how far you have down. A lot of games have this feature where holding down will scroll the screen vertically so you can see what's above or below you. That would have been very useful in a game like this where an 8-foot drop can fucking kill you. So yeah, the game is challenging, but more often than not, it's cheap difficulty rather than a test of skills. The soundtrack is basic and has several repeat songs, which is unfortunate when there's only 8 levels, but there is that cool tone that you get from soundtracks of games developed by Rare. Overall, Digger T-Rock is quite rough around the edges. It could have definitely been more memorable with some polishing, but you can only polish a rock so much. So before I start the walkthrough, I'll say off the bat to grab as many diamonds as you can possibly get your hands on. They're pretty much a necessity, because you're gonna need them to buy shit that you will positively need to have in the last stage, or it's impossible to finish. Again, I can't tell you exactly where all the items are due to the randomness of their placement, so I'll just tell you what areas to explore, and if you see something, pick it up. So in Cavern 1, dig through the ground here, and the pipe is staring you in the face right away. You can activate it, slide down the slope, and go straight to the door almost immediately after, making this one of the shortest levels of all time. Or you can grab some shit first. Dig through the ceiling for some rocks to throw, slide down the slope, and then crawl through here for some more rocks in the ceiling. Just be sure to slap away the damn mosquitoes. They're just as annoying in this game as they are in real life. Don't let them get above you, and smack the shit out of them when they get close. Crawling through here leads to more rocks in the ceiling, right before a hidden passageway that leads to up here around where you started the stage. Head right instead this time in case there's any enemies in this area before you reach the wall. Smack away these little creatures that look like red-headed bells with eyes. They simply walk across the floor. Then activate the pipe again, this time jumping over the slope to crawl through here where more items await. Crawl through this nook and you'll get another secret passage, this time to the area up top where that short wall was. Go back, slap away the mosquitoes, or run away and slip down here where you'll find the alternate path to the door from the other side. When you start Cavern 2, skip the first drop and crawl through here. Just watch out for these short pieces of rock that'll collapse underneath your weight, so keep moving. Slip down the second hole that opened up and crawl through here for some more items at the end. You should end up with a ladder here somewhere. Remember, these areas with a brickish background or anything else of the like usually means you can crawl up or down like a ladder. Now go back and drop a ladder down this pit, grab a shroom from up here, and then blow up the wall here, which leads you to the pipe. Bypass it for now and crawl down here for some more items, including rocks in the ceiling down here and a mushroom. Now go back to the pipe, activate it, and head right. Dig through the sand and slip down here for some more potential goodies. Crawl down here, blow up these walls, and slipping down here will lead you to what's essentially a boss battle. But you have the option of blowing up this wall, grabbing some shit, and then teleporting through here to get back to the pipe and restarting the timer. So the boss is this dinosaur that takes a couple bites and wanders back and forth. You can make short work of him if you have rocks, but if you don't, use the shovel, but retreat after each of your attacks or he'll bite your face off. It takes a little patience, but it'll save you rocks if you have them. After finishing them off, the door to the end is just ahead. In Cavern 3, you'll be introduced to the ghosts that do their business by punching you square in the fucking face, dealing a butt ton of damage. If you knock them down, they'll get up after a moment and turn their backs, where you can't hurt them. But as soon as they spin back around, smash them again and it'll finish them off. Head right, dig down here, and bang a left, digging through here and knocking out these boulders that'll lead you down here where you can dig for a shitload of rocks and a shroom. Then hop into the teleportation station in the wall here that'll take you up to just below where you started. Head down here and you'll encounter a rematch with the dinosaur. The fight is exactly the same as it was the first time. The pipe to unlock the door is just ahead, Activate it and head left, digging your way down here. Hop over the pit and drop a ladder down. Just watch out for the ghost. When you get to the bottom of the ladder, drop another one, and now you're back down where you teleported from. Head left, drop another ladder down, and dig down here, where you'll end up in a small room with a bunch of boulders dropping from the ceiling. You'll see them change color and shake before they drop. Stay to the rightish, as more will drop from the left at first, but slide back to the middle when one of them drops from the right, and then go back. Once there's a clearing in the ceiling from the far right, climb up on here and crawl up for the door. Cavern 4 is pretty short and straightforward, but it's also a great spot for buying shit. If you have diamonds, then great. You'll run into these cavemen who swing clubs. Smash them, and then again while they're down so they don't get back up. When you come to the edge here, jump over the one that lurks here. You won't be able to smash him from the edge here unless you use rocks. There are 3 of these little castles. When you reach each of them, crawl up the wall and then through the open window from the side, and it'll take you up here. The tops of these bumpy things are walkable, but what you want to do is line yourself up with the window that's all shiny and enter. It'll bring you into a store, the first one with 8 ladders, the next one with 8 chunks of dynamite, and the last with 8 piles of rocks. Make sure you have the diamond selected and press B to buy. If you want to buy another 8, walk out and walk back in and they'll restock. Stock up on as much as you can. When you're done shopping in any room, head to the back to take the passage to the ground level. Along the way, watch out for these small rocks that'll fall underneath you. If you end up down here on this lower level, head back to climb your way back up, or if you're closer to the end, you can pop up from the other side. You may run out of time to get to the door while buying things, but the level is short, so backtracking isn't really that big of a deal. The door isn't too far away from the pipe. In Cavern 5, right off the bat, you've got a skeleton that throws bones at you. Take him out, and then dig through the ceiling for some more rocks and a shroom which can assist you in taking out said skeleton without taking any damage. Then go back and dig down, take out the skeleton, and hop on this moving platform that'll shift up and down all the way to the end of the stage vertically. You can access the rest of the stage by hopping off the platform, taking care of your business, and then coming back to the platform while it's on its way back. Thankfully, when it goes off screen, it doesn't go through the whole sequence of its travels, it comes back right after. Head right and grab some shit, wiping out the skeletons in your way, and dig up here to cover the area you would have accessed if you went right instead of left at the beginning. Either way, it doesn't matter. Now go right and crawl up to get some more shit. There are more skeletons in here, and you'll meet the purple ghost, who is slow, but it can grab a hold of you and pull you upwards and then drop you where it sees fit. Which of course in an open area like this can lead to death, so keep your distance. Head right at this slope, crawl down and dig for some shrooms here, and dig down to reach the pipe. Then hop back up onto the platform, ride it down, and take it all the way to the bottom. There'll be some skeletons waltzing around on the floor, and a purple ghost chasing you around. Bypass them, pick up the diamond, and take the platform back up to here. Slip down here, drop a ladder, then drop another. Crawl down here, wipe out the skeleton, and go through the door. Now on to Cavern 6, and if you thought the controls weren't slippery enough, here we have an ice stage where the majority of the ground is not only slippery, but you slide all the way across until you jump to kill off the momentum. So if you reach an edge, you might want to stop yourself from slipping off. Start off heading right, hop across this gap here, and if you slide down this way, you'll find a diamond that's protected by this stupid fucking pole of spikes. Ugh. Now you can get through by pegging rocks at it, but it barely moves the damn thing. So unless you have a shit ton of rocks, don't bother. There are some rocks above that you can dig through the ceiling to collect, but if you have enough rocks and you don't want the diamond, skip this part entirely and just head left and down this way. Just watch out for the small rocks that'll collapse underneath you. It'll lead to a long drop. Instead, dig through here, pick up some rocks, and then dig down this way and the pipe is just ahead. Activate it, but hop back up here so you can jump over to this platform, crawl under, jump over the pole of spikes, jump over the pit, and watch your head as you slide across the ground. you're going to want to kill off your momentum first. Head down and you'll encounter the dragon that breathes fire your way. Fuck this guy, just keep running, jump over the spike pole, and throw rocks through the next one. Or if you have enough health, just run straight through it. The door is just ahead, and your health will regenerate, so fuck it. Cavern 7 is similar to Cavern 4 in that it's short and has an item shop. Big difference though is that this time you have to pull some cryptic parlor tricks to find the door. Head right, kill the cavemen, and cut left under this ledge here. Keeping to the left, you don't want to fall down here. Drop a ladder at the edge and you'll soon run into another castle that you'll do the same crawl through the window technique to keep up, where you'll once again want to line up with the shiny window to get into the shop, which sells dynamite. Buy as much of it as you possibly can and exit the back door to get back out. The door is just ahead, but you need to activate that pipe. So first head left where you drop the ladder, blow up the wall here, and continue left to open up the hidden area here, although you can't pass any further. Now go back up to where the level started and walk into this wall for another hidden area. Crawl through here to open up another hidden area, activate the pipe, and crawl through for another hidden area that opens up another explodable wall. Blow it to hell, and then you'll come up on the other side where you can head straight for the door and the stage is over. Cavern 8 is the final stage of the game. Right away you'll see these green blobs coming at you. Turns out they're dragon eggs, as they can hatch upon impact with a wall or whatever and start breathing fire. These little pesky fucks can get you trapped too, where you'll take damage and drop. And then right as you get back up, the little fucker will blast you again. It's bullshit. So do whatever you can to keep away from these bastards, including swatting the eggs out of the air as they come at you like it's a baseball game. This part right here is where the flawed jumping controls rear their ugly head. You have to land directly on these pipes, none of which are the one to open the door, at least not yet. But you've also got the dragon eggs to deal with at the same time. Try to jump so you come straight down from overhead. The last thing you want to do is have your finger on the directional button as you land. That's how you slide off, and then you have to crawl through this shit and backtrack. There's a dragon spitting the eggs at you and guarding your path to continue. The shovel nor the rocks will do the trick here. What you've got to do is lay down some dynamite, which will temporarily back him up and giving you an opening. Act fast, cause he'll come back after a few seconds. The eggs can knock you back between the pipes, and you'll need to backtrack. So get yourself some cover first by landing here. Then when there's an opening, lay down the dynamite and pass through immediately. There are shrooms you can dig for here to buy yourself some time, and slip down here to land on the pipe that opens the door. Now you've got to move cause the door is pretty far out. Dig down here, walk across and blow up this wall that looks like a tiny pipe. What would make you think these would be explosive is beyond me. Blow up the next wall, and then you'll slide across the ground. Stop your momentum, drop down here, and throw down some more dynamite to move the dragon. See why you needed to stock up on all the dynamite now? Then slide across. You'll open up a secret area down here, and then you'll fall and get hurt. So hopefully you're not low on health on your last life. Blow up these walls, get the diamond, which you're gonna need in a sec if you were fresh out. Just make sure to back up here, you're in close quarters. We'll get to the final dragon, who for some reason is unaffected by the dynamite this time, or at least it won't back him up. But who to thunk it, you've got to drop the diamond, which he'll chase after and give you an opening. Don't know how you were supposed to figure that out, but there it is. The door is right after, and that's it. You found the lost city. Digger T falls on his ass, and we get a to be continued message. Not sure what is happening here, especially since he gets back to his feet and seems fine. And we'd never find out because there would be no sequel. This would wrap up the Digger T Rock saga, and it wraps up this edition of Aqualung's Game Reviews. See you next time.